Welcome to Advanced Solutions How-To session. Today's session will cover how to add, edit, delete equipment list within Room Reserve. Let's begin by signing into the staff side of the room reservation system. You will need to know your administrative password for today's session. So here in the password box, I will type in my administrative password, and I could either hit the enter key on my keyboard or I could do a simple click over the login button here. Once the room reservation system opens, it will open up to the home page. Within the home page, you are able to make modifications to many areas within the system. For instance, you have your reservation maintenance, you have setup, settings, quick view, and reports. Now, because we have the administrative level, we do have access to the setup as well as settings within the room reservation system. If I hover over other items in the toolbar, such as reservation maintenance, reports, room setup, and system settings, you will see under those drop-downs that it is the exact same items that we have in the box on the home page. So if I was to come into request reservations and needed to get back to my home page, I could come back up here to my toolbar and select home. If I needed more information about the actual program, I would select the About from the toolbar. And as you can see within the About, it will give me information about what version I'm on, the vendor, support, website, and manuals. This becomes very important when you're contacting support because they will need to know what version you are on. Here back on the home page, let's come over to Settings, and we're going to go down to Branch Specific Lists, and we're going to select Equipment List. Now you're probably asking yourself, equipment list maintenance, didn't I already set up all of the fixture items? Well, those are two different things. Fixture items is for items that are standard inside that room. So for instance, Community Room A already has DSL. It already has a whiteboard. It already has a table within. These are things that are always standard within inside those rooms. Equipment lists, however, are things that can be brought in upon request. So when a room is being reserved, the patron can go in and say, hey, I would like you to bring in a phone for us, a projection screen, make sure there's wireless internet, things like that, that we can add to our equipment list. So when we're on our equipment list maintenance screen, you will see that we have two sections. We have add a new item to the list, then we also have modify items on the list. Your screen may look a little different at first because you may not have defined anything in your list yet, but here in mine, I already have 4 items in my list that I can modify or delete. Let's start by adding a new item to the list. So over here at the Add New Item to List, where it says Enter Equipment Name, I'm going to put Training Materials. And I could select Internal Use Only, which means that only internal staff members would be able to select this particular item in the equipment for the rooms. So a patron couldn't go out and select training materials if I had chosen internal use only. For now, I will go ahead and just leave it as is and not select internal use only. Once I select Save, it moves that item over to my Modify Items in the list. If I wanted to change the header or the title for that, all I would have to do is double click on the item that I'd like to change, and it brings me to the Modify Items screen, where I can make modifications to the Modify Equipment name, or I could even select that internal use only. So if I select that and submit modified entry, now that is marked for internal only. If I needed to delete an item out of my list, such as wireless internet, I can go ahead and go to the column where it says delete next to the equipment that I'd like to delete, select delete items, and it removes the item from the list. To recap, to add a new item, we come over to the Add New Item box and we would enter equipment name. We would choose internal use only or not, select save. To delete an item, I would select the item that I'd like to delete, put a check mark in the column under delete, select delete items. To make a modification, I would double click on the item, and it would bring me to the modify item list where I can modify the equipment name or choose internal use only and select submit modified entry. Once I was done making my modifications to the screen, I could select the back button where it would take me back to the home page of the room reservation maintenance screen, and I could make further modifications. If there were no other modifications needed, I could come up to the toolbar and select log off.